Henry M. Robert of the United States Army had a problem. General Henry M. Robert was what you would call a joiner. The United States Army sent him all over the United States in the 19th century, and wherever he went, he liked to join church groups, civic groups, fraternal societies. He was a joiner. In German, you would say a Vereinsmensch. But he noticed that there was no uniform way of conducting business, and this disturbed him. And the straw that broke the general's back, so to speak, was when he presided over a meeting in Massachusetts. Massachusetts is on the coast, and the issue was, should we build a seawall in front of this town? Now, this affected people very directly because the people lived from fishing, they lived from commerce, from shipping. This really had an impact on their lives. So in best New England tradition, they called for a town meeting. So imagine the town hall of the church packed with the townspeople. Each one had an agenda. Each one had an opinion, an interest in this question. General Robert is presiding. The meeting lasted
11 hours.
And at the end of those 11 hours, imagine this. Nobody knew what was decided. And even worse, nobody even knew whether anything had been decided at all. It was chaos, total chaos pure. I'm sure all of us have sat through meetings like this, maybe not 11 hours, but when you came out, you thought, what was the issue? What did we decide? Who's responsible? We don't know. That cannot, should not happen with parliamentary procedures. This meeting inspired General Robert to sit down one long winter in 1876 and write a manual of order. It's now known as Robert's Rules of Order. It's now in the 10th edition. And we use it now for guiding us through large meetings where there is a possible of conflict. It's a way of handling things quickly, swiftly, but fairly and transparently. Now, where could you use parliamentary procedures? I would say in a Toastmasters board meeting with 3 or 4 or 5, maybe 7 people, may not be necessary. At work, if you've got a working group of 4 people, probably not necessary to use parliamentary procedures because things can move faster without them. But imagine a group this size, or even better yet, something that's really going to affect us. District 59, we're part of District 59, continental Europe, will meet in a little over 2 months in Poland, in Poznan. They will have a business meeting. That is the whole reason for having these conferences twice a year. It's a business meeting on Saturday morning. At this business meeting, the Continental Council is going to describe, District 59 is going to decide how we're going to split because we're too big. Now, do you think there might be diversified viewpoints to this question? Do you think there might be controversy there? You better believe there will be. And if that meeting is not run according to parliamentary procedures, it's going to be chaos. It will never end, and there'll be no upshot. What we're going to do tonight is the first of 5 sessions. We're going to talk about the principles. We're going to talk a little bit about what's behind those principles. In the 4th, the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th, we'll get more into detail about parliamentary procedures. Tonight's just a general overview. I should mention that Robert's Rules of Order are the most common ones used in the United States. There are other rules of parliamentary procedure as well. You can see in the word Parliament, yes, there is the Westminster Rule of Order as well, which the British Parliament uses. They developed those for a very good reason, because in the 17th and 18th century, the good old days, there were often fights in Parliament, physical brawls, because people couldn't disagree or agree or thought they were being treated unfairly. However, it isn't just confined to quaint examples of 17th and 18th century. I'm sure you can find on YouTube a video of the Japanese Parliament. I mean, can you imagine the Japanese, the most polite people on earth today? In the late 1990s, there was a fist fight in the Japanese Parliament because chaos had broken out in a meeting. This cannot happen with parliamentary procedures. It should not happen with parliamentary procedures because, again, they are fair and they are transparent. Let's talk about some of the basics, the premises. Votes of the members are counted equally and only once. No member can vote twice, and each member has only one vote. That's the foundation of parliamentary procedures. Absent members and members who are in the minority do have some rights. Another principle. Members have the right to free and fair debate. They have a right to know, what are we debating? What is the question? They have a right to know what will the effect be on me and on the organization. That's a right of membership. This one I have to underline a little bit. The majority has the right to decide. I know it's been fashionable the last 40 years ago to somehow take pity on the minority, but the minority does not decide under parliamentary procedures. The minority has a right to make its viewpoint known and has a right to protest, but does not carry the decision. The majority carries the decision. I have to emphasize that again and again. Finally, parliamentary procedures facilitate goodwill because it's based on fairness and fair play. Why should you, as Toastmasters, be interested in learning parliamentary procedures? I can think of two and a half reasons. Reason number one, Toastmasters, where leaders are made, our new motto. You may have to run a meeting someday, a large meeting where you have to get through an agenda quickly and effectively and fairly. If you know how to use parliamentary procedures, that's a wonderful management tool. Now, the bad news is parliamentary procedures. Can I have my bag there for a second? Parliamentary procedures is an extremely complex and complicated subject. It is taught at universities, in law schools, as graduate degrees, not for undergraduate, but for graduate lawyers, and not every lawyer understands it. You go through books like this. It's extremely complicated. That's the bad news. The good news is, to run a meeting, you don't have to know all this. You don't have to know all the detail. I don't know all the detail. It suffices to have a broad understanding of how it works. To underscore what I'm telling you, I have gone to 12 international Toastmasters conventions in Canada or the United States. The Saturday of convention week is always devoted, the Friday morning is devoted to the Toastmaster business meeting. 2,000 Toastmasters in a room. Up front, leading, is the president of Toastmasters International. No one expects him to be an expert in parliamentary procedures. No one expects it because directly at his right hand, literally next to him, is Herb Knowles, the official Toastmasters parliamentarian. He knows the answers. Not the president of Toastmasters. He doesn't have to. If he has a question, he quickly confers with Herb, or Herb quickly confers with him, and the meeting runs smoothly, fairly, transparently. You don't need to know. I'll take questions at the end, okay? Incidentally, Herb Knoll, I've known him for several years. My wife was afraid of him. He wears these owl-like glasses, bold man like me, but a bit shorter, older, never smiles. Privately, he's one of the funniest people you ever want to meet, and he's a parliamentarian, an official, professional parliamentarian. So you don't have to know this to run a meeting. A broad understanding is enough to get you through most situations. And if it's really big, like in Poznan, our Polish meeting, there should be a parliamentarian up there helping our district government. Reason number two you should know, if you're not leading the meeting, chances are you're in the audience participating as a voting member. It's good to know what your rights are under parliamentary procedures. It's good to know the tools at your disposal. Know how to use them and also know how not to use them. Some people abuse these tools because they don't really understand parliamentary procedures. But if you understand parliamentary procedures, you can get a lot more out of your meetings. I said two reasons, maybe 2.5 reasons. The half reason is you could also become a parliamentarian. Now, people seem to think I'm an expert in it. When I go to meetings, guess whom they ask to be the parliamentarian? Me with my little book. Yeah. I expect when I retire, I might even make a sort of a second profession out of it, become a professional parliamentarian. Could be kind of a nice way to supplement my retirement.